Welcome. Let's take a look at our top story this hour. 4.5 years ago, the image of a drowned Syrian toddler whose tiny body had washed up on the Turkish coastline shook the world out of its complacence as millions of Syrians set out with their kith and kin from the ruinous civil war in Syria. Now, in this week, amid reports of another Syrian boy's drowning off the island of Lesbos, 44-year-old Abdullah Kurdi, the father of the 5-year-olds Aylan Kurdi, says that the ongoing migrant crisis in Europe brings back the same demons.
Glory be to God. The media really focused on Aylan's photograph. The media and the whole world focused on this photo. Europe started caring about refugees and opened its doors, but unfortunately it was for a very short time, maybe for a month or two. And then they closed these doors again. In Turkey, the situation is average. The community, not the government, do not treat migrants well. They used to like them, but since the wars and whatnot, they tell them, you go fight in Syria. Why are you here while our children are dying?
The Turkey-Syria crisis is worsening. Europe risks a new migration meltdown after Erdogan opened the floodgates. It's a powder keg all set to explode. The situation at the Greek-Turkish land border has worsened dramatically after Ankara dropped the migrant bomb on the European Union, letting thousands of migrants enter the EU territory. Turkey signaled that it won't stand in the way of people using its territory to escape Syria and other war-ravaged countries. Thousands of desperate asylum seekers flocked towards the Greek border as security forces deployed tear gas to hold them back. Now, Turkey's leader, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, discussed the migrant crisis with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Erdogan reportedly told Merkel that Europe must accommodate its share of the migrants. Now, the president also rejected an offer of €1 billion in aid from the European bloc. Erdogan has made it unambiguously clear that he does not want Europe's money. Now, the European Union is keeping a close watch on what is unfolding at the border. The EU Commission President has acknowledged that Turkey is facing a difficult situation, but said that letting migrants cross over to Europe was not the solution.
I acknowledge that Turkey is in a difficult situation concerning with regards to the refugees and the migrants. But what we see now cannot be an answer or a solution. Therefore, we establish a more and more intensive dialogue with Turkey through all different political levels to, first of all, find again common ground what the situation for the refugees in Turkey is concerned, and to discuss where support might be needed, knowing that we do have an agreement in place.
We are joined by political analyst Onur Erim, who is joining us live from Ankara for more insight on this story. Good evening to you and welcome to your story. Thanks for being with us. What is the latest? What is Turkey planning on doing? They are taking a very tough stance, as is Greece, also taking strong measures in pushing the migrants back.
Well, first of all, let me just start by clarifying something. What Turkey has stopped doing as of I believe 2 days ago, as per Mr. President Erdogan, is just stopping the migrants that came mostly from Syria and other parts of the world to not let them cross the borders to Europe. So actually, Turkey, as a result of an agreement with the European Union, has been blocking their freedom of travel and freedom of migration under Geneva Convention and many other, rules of law set down by the United Nations, the European Union, and what have you. So we're at a point where Turkey had an agreement with the EU to stop the migrants in Turkey in return for somewhat of a assistance and help from the European Union. Now, even Katy Perry today, the former EU chancellor, has said that European Union has not delivered on any of its promises as a result of Turkey overtaking this burden instead of Europe. And now President Erdogan said, okay, we're not going to stop anybody anymore. They're free to leave or they're free to do anything they want. There is not a single act by Turkey, by Turkish government, or Turks in general right now to encourage, to support for these refugees to leave Turkey. All we're doing right now is not stopping them, or put it, the other way, we're giving them their freedom of travel as refugees.
Erdogan saying that he doesn't want the offer of the 1 billion euros from the EU. He doesn't want their money. What does he want? What are they planning on doing?
I mean, we could just give it a little shot to this problem, or we could cure the entire problem from this situation. Everybody has to know that for almost over, I think, 5 million Syrians, most of which are in Turkey, the solution for this problem, for indefinite solution, is for these Syrians to go back to their homeland and to live in peace. However, this is not happening. This is not happening due to Assad. This is not happening due to Russia. This is not happening due to many other factors, many other countries, and what have you. The problem is EU hasn't done anything in order to enhance the living conditions, or forget about enhancing, to bring Idlib or rest of Syria, at least northern Syria, to become a livable environment. Now, that's where the problem lies. If we don't fix the cause of the problem, all these other symptoms, we could, put a little medicine here and medicine there, but it's not going to cure the problem from where it sources. Now, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, Chancellor Merkel has made a comment yesterday that there should be a ceasefire in Idlib. I believe it's British. There's a very, very famous saying by them that where, to say good morning after supper. This is what they're exactly. They've been turning a blind eye, a blind ear, and they've been playing the three monkeys, the European Union, and now just what President Erdogan is doing is giving them a reality check without breaking any kind of any kind of refugee conventions or any kind of refugee rulings of the UN, NATO, EU, whomever you have in the world as a governing body.
But the reality of this is that, as an example, the tragedy of the 4.5-year-old Elan Kurdi, this is a stark reminder that the migrant crisis is far more than politicking and laws, but it is the people who are suffering the most. What are your quick comments on this?
It is, and it's unfortunately it's being done by Greece, a member state of the EU. There's an excess of 6 million Syrian refugees that crossed the border to Turkey. Nobody has stopped them. Not a single harm was done to any of them. Yesterday, a little child was drowned because of the Greek Coast Guard. A person got killed, getting shot through his throat by a live bullet, again by the Greek guards. Now, this is being done by a country, quote unquote, who's supposedly a member EU state. So, but over 6 million people passed through Turkey, or passed through the borders of Turkey. About 1 million of them went to Europe. Not a single harm to done any one of them. So the EU, Greece and the EU has to take a greater responsibility and has to show a humane way of treating people, no matter who they are.
Anur Erim, thank you for joining us. That's a political analyst coming to us live from Ankara.